Baby?
Oh, yeah.
Hello. Just gonna take a breath. I love to spend time with people as they're preparing for the birth of their child. I like to offer them the invitation to know that they have options in how they meet and welcome that experience of childbirth. They have choices. I like to invite them, as we sit together, to just begin by creating that space in their bodies, which, when the time comes, they can access with relaxation, with imagery. I like to invite them to be curious about really what that birth is going to look like to really intentionalize it, to picture it. What do they want it to smell like where they're giving birth? What do they want it to sound like? Where do they want to give birth? Maybe it's at a hospital, maybe it's at home, maybe it's on the back deck. That happens sometimes. But to really create a vision for how this is going to be. Always focusing on creating that space within themselves, with breath, with imagery, with this intention. I like to invite them to consider that it's through their connection that the opening is created. There's actually hormones released as a couple connects that allow the body to open, allow the cervix to dilate. This love between the partners. I invite them to hold each other, to even caress one another, to even kiss, to create a space of privacy and intimacy. I tell them that the energy that conceived the baby is much like the energy that's going to allow the baby to be born. And a lot of this is kind of new information to these young people preparing for birth. So I really invite them to engage in that process of just thinking about what they want and being able to bring to their providers what they want. You know, what do they want the lighting to be like? Do they want to have oils being diffused like rose and lavender that will relax them? Do they want to stand up for most of their labor, move around? So all these choices they have, right? All these options. And I just invite them to continually open to what's possible. To create that spaciousness around their vision, to create that space within their bodies. And I love to have them imagine the actual birth, that baby, you know, moving through the birth canal, actually being birthed, those first moments, those first minutes, that first golden hour of connection that is formed by looking in each other's eyes, by touching each other, by holding each other skin to skin. I really invite them to imagine that because it creates something in them. An expectation of what it can be. And that bond that is created in those moments is something that will last that baby's entire life. It'll impact the parents in relationship to that child. So as you hold that, just let that kind of land in you in this fertile soil of your body. And let that imagery take root. I'm going to invite you, after just a little pause, to let that happen. An opportunity to kind of take this trail in another direction. from this birth world into, let's say, the dream world. I recently had an experience that made me look at birth as almost a metaphor for life. It was a Monday in October, so just a couple months ago, and I belong to a dream group. There's 4 of us. We've been meeting to look at our dreams for over 12 years, these 4 women, including me. One is a facilitator, and then 3 of us are companions in our dream work. And it was my turn, and I picked a particularly uncomfortable dream, which is what I usually do because I know it's in that shadow where the gems are being held, where the light wants to come in. So I looked at that dream, and when I was inside, we use active imagination, and we go back through the dream. And it was an aspect of myself that had this desire to be seen and heard for this gift she had to give. And there was something said by one of my companions that brought in this part of me that shut down the process. It was very interesting. It had never happened before, but all of a sudden I'm in this dream and I'm like, I'm not going any further in this dream. And after a little while, everyone realized that, and I came out of the dream. And then something again was said that kind of had this part really stand firm in what she was not wanting to go into. And it was so interesting that it kind of stopped the process for me. It was this contracting, right? Something I'll have parents also do is think of that word, contraction. And what does it engage in your body? Kind of this restriction. What if we could look at that word and call it a surge instead? Like a surge of energy that we could welcome instead of, brace ourselves for, right? So this contraction was happening in me with this dream, and we pretty much stopped the process. Dream group ended, everyone left my house, and the whole rest of the evening I was like, what the heck just happened? And I felt very confused and unresolved. Went to bed that night, didn't sleep, got up in the middle of the night, journaled. And when I really made contact with this part that had been activated, realized it was shame. It was this shame at having something to share, but not feeling like I could share it. I hadn't even figured it out yet, but I knew it was shame. As soon as I realized it was this shameful feeling, I was able to go to bed and sleep. Slept great, got up. I looked at my week, and by some miracle, I had Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, each day, I had sessions scheduled to do my own therapy, which had never happened before. I meet with 3 other colleagues, and once a month we'll share. I'll be the client, they'll be the therapist, or I'll be the therapist, they'll be the client. And here were 3 days set up where I was going to get to go inside and do my own work. So I did. I proceeded to do that, and each day, just more space, more space. So by Friday, I'm like, wow, I can hold this shame in a whole new way now. I understand her. I get what happened that day at Dream Group. I just had this feeling of expansion and spaciousness just by being with this part of me. And I really got to test it Friday evening, the end of the week. It had been a long week, a very busy week. My husband said, let's go to dinner. So we went to dinner. So we're walking in the restaurant. I say something to him, which triggers a reaction, a defense. He says something back to me from that place, and it was enough to derail the evening. In the past, it would have derailed the evening. And instead, there was this pause in me, And I literally kind of felt my shoulders go back and like, just gonna open this space up for him. And this feeling, this, whatever's coming at me, man. And suddenly, as I looked at him, rather than a defense coming after me, I felt this feeling of opening, and I had this profound realization of how exhausted he was. And I saw how tired he was. And instead of that contraction, that closing down, there was this open-hearted compassion towards him, this love. And forgiveness, a forgiveness that happened so fast I wasn't even aware like it happened. And I just looked at him with that, and we went and sat down, and I'm sure he was expecting me to be like, you know, cold and distant because of what he said. And instead, I just felt compelled to reach over, and I laid my hand on his hand, and we looked at each other's eyes, and it's like whatever was there on his part melted away, just dissipated. So we ate dinner. On our ride home, he said, you know, babe, I'm so tired. I think I have to go to bed when I get home. And again, this could have had a little reaction to me, like, what? It's Friday night. We're, you know, alone. Our son was gone. It was like, I had plans. And instead, I said, okay, I think I'll go for a walk. So he went in, he went to bed, I went for a walk. I live over on the west side, and I walked up towards the sapphires. And it was one of those October evenings. It's like the sun had set, but everything was holding its light. The leaves were all gold, light. I mean, there was reds, orange, yellow, every color you can imagine. The sky was that blue that is like, you can't even describe it. I don't think it has a name. Just so spectacular was this evening. And I walked up our road, and then I turned around, and over the sapphires, a waxing moon was rising in this brilliant blue sky with all this glowing foliage. And I just was filled in awe at where I get to live, and so much gratitude. And I get home, stillness. My husband is asleep. And I walk into my living room, and the funniest thing happened. I'm standing there, I don't know how long, and suddenly I realize I'm smiling. All by myself, in my living room on Friday night at, 7:30, and there was such a joy within me. And that's how I spent my evening, just kind of being washed in that acceptance of what that was. So I kind of made this commitment to experiment that week with this new sense, this new realization that I could just put my shoulders back, open that space, and be with whatever arose. And I had opportunities to practice that, and it was confirmed that if I just opened up to it, there was something there. There was options. There was self-compassion. There was compassion for the other person. There was this instantaneous forgiveness. And then I had signed up for a training. So that next week, I went out of town for a week, out of state for a week. And another funny thing, I signed up for this training on addictions and eating disorders, thinking, I really want to know how to be with these people, my clients who are struggling with these challenges in their life. And what I realized within the first 2 minutes was this wasn't for my clients. It was for me. It was for me to do my shadow work. So this incredible opportunity, and day after day, it's mostly experiential. I was just able to be with other people as they had these same realizations. Wow, what did I think signing up for this? I have to look at all this? But over and over again, these openings and realizations and self-compassion. And I was able to continue that work once I got home. Something that we got introduced to at the end of this training was legacy burdens. And when I got home, I met this part of myself that was like a fetus in the womb. And as I spent time with her, she unfurled, and it's as if she was born into space. It's like she had room to grow. And with her, we looked at all of these legacy burdens that are in my lineage that I really am not paying any attention to, like addiction, alcoholism, depression, even suicide. And one by one, I walked with this, newborn through this lineage and was able to see that they all could let that, like, black tar come out of them and go to God, go to the light, go to this blazing light. And then, as they released that, what came back all the way to her was this light now that could flow, because there was nothing blocking it. And I saw it move even past, through me, to my own children, and to my children's children who haven't even been born yet. So this light is just flowing both ways now. And that part of me in that dream group that felt that shame, it's as if that was that fetus. And she was able to stretch and grow and unfurl her limbs and open up to the possibility that she has options and space, and she was free. She was really free in this truth, in this knowing, in this ability to have self-compassion. And what I would love for you to get curious about is the fact that you're free. And what is going to be born through you? What is going to be birthed through you? And to open to that, with that love, it's always flowing. I've got 1 minute left, and I'm complete.